Hi, this is Nurse Ellen. I specialize in palliative and hospice nursing, and I have a background in clinical naturopathic medicine. So, right now, we are having a conversation on the national stage of what it looks like to be in the elderhood phase of your life, but towards the end of that. We are seeing in real time how our capacity to show up in our lives in a predictable way begins to change, right? We're using words like today was an off day. And I just want to normalize that. So at that phase of life, it is so normal to have some days where you feel like you're still in your middlehood, and some days you're just like, wow, I don't know what happened there. Okay, so that's very normal. However, it becomes really important to start having serious self-awareness and perhaps even conversations with your trusted loved ones about what this means and how can life be shifted in a way that adapts for those periods of time. So, I want to talk about three things that I think are very relevant to all of us as we see this national conversation unfold. So, let's talk about grandpa or maybe even mom or dad, okay? And the topic of driving. So, this is a really tough one. Driving, as we all know, comes with an enormous responsibility, especially to the safety of our community. And knowing when it's time to stop driving is a huge conversation. It requires an enormous amount of self-awareness and self-awareness in a way that is community focused. It can bring up really tough things such as, wow, I'm really getting older and I can't necessarily predict how I'm going to be able to be at the start of my day, the middle of the day, and the end of my day. It also means being self-aware in relation to your community. And can I be a safe and responsible driver in my community? This can be a time of deep sadness, grief, denial, anger. All of those feelings come up. They come up for the person in the situation, and they come up for the family and the community. It might start out slow. You might see, oh, all of a sudden I ran a red light. Wow, where did that come from? That was crazy. It might be a little fender bender. It could be this slow and kind of progressive start. And those things may not necessarily trigger you to the awareness that maybe this is me. So it might mean that your family is in this position of having to reach out and say, Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, I'm worried. This is a toughie, right? We're seeing this unfold on the national stage right now, and there's no right or wrong answer here. It is a conversation that has to be unfolding and ongoing. But I've got three things that I think will help you in your own experience of this be able to maybe engage with the challenge of this conversation in a productive way. So, best case scenario, the person who is experiencing these changes in their self and their elderhood, having self-awareness and them being able to put forward the conversation to their family and say, hey, this is happening in my life and I want to start thinking in a productive way about what to do about this. That is best case scenario. The second best thing would be that persons who you feel like you can absolutely trust can feel safe to come to you and say, okay, it's time. Let's start thinking about this in a way that is safety promoting for the community, safety promoting for you, and still honors you as a wise human being. That's the second best scenario. And the third scenario, or the third actually action step that I think is most important here, is to come to this conversation with the mindset of creating an action plan. So many times we enter this going, oh my gosh, I just can't drive anymore. Or families going, Dad, hand me the keys. This is done. But that does not give the family or the person in this experience dignity, and it doesn't give them a way to continue to have quality of life. What an action plan really does is create that progressive system so that family and community and the person in their elderhood can all come together and create an ongoing scenario that honors personhood, continues to promote independence, and helps to reduce the burden that it may be on a family unit. So the action plan needs to consist of these concepts. So, for example, the first one really needs to be addressing a way for the person who's no longer able to travel independently to have regular, consistent access to getting their basic needs met. So, for example, shopping. Pick one day of the week that family and this person go out shopping together. Another idea would be investigating some form of independent transportation. This might be public transportation. It might also be different organizations that provide senior transportation. And then the third component that I think is really important is that everybody is aware of how critical it is for the person in their elderhood to be able to continue to engage with their peers and their community in a really meaningful way. So maybe grandpa really wants to continue going to his bridge group. How do we make that happen? How do we support that process happening? Maybe it's this person really wants to continue being an active member in their church community or other sort of community events. Is there a way that the community can come together consistently to provide this opportunity that provides quality of life, and it allows that our elders continue to have a very important and impactful place in our society? Okay, that was a lot. This is a huge conversation, but I hope that these three things give you a way to start thinking about the inevitable for all of us. All right, guys, see you out there. Thank you to our elders.